Alright, looks like we are live. Hello, welcome to a possible new series, I don't know. Just something I thought of today called Burning the Midnight Ortho. I know, it's a pun off Burning the Midnight Oil, but I thought I would try it. Let's try it. Hold up. Oh. Okay, I'm trying that. I'm going to check the audio real quick. I know it's a little echoey. I don't have my headphones on. So this is just a test run, just to see how it works, see if I get any traction on this. But where the concept came from is I knew I had to work late tonight. And if you're a lab technician or a lab owner in this ortho world, you know you put in some late nights. It's inevitable. So I want you to know you're not alone. There's a lot of us out there that do this. And I think you'll have a lot of kick out of this. So my goal in the end is to have multiple lab technicians, lab owners that work late at night. We all get together one night a week, and while we're working late, and we just discuss topics and things and do things like that. So, hi, it's me again. I didn't see. This is a test run, so obviously I'm not doing things right. But anyway, like I said, this is a new series called Burning the Midnight Ortho for you new people out there that are just tuning in. And I just wanted to connect with other lab technicians that are working late also. So hopefully if you're working late tonight, you'll get a kick out of this, and we can have a little online discussion. So join me in the chat, ask questions, I'll answer them. And actually today, all I'm doing is I'm just sprinkling some cases that you saw down here. So I'm just going to be shooting the acrylic, pouring the acrylic. So it shouldn't be any kind of big deal for me to talk and do the same time. Well, I say that I can barely talk just without doing anything else. But like I said before, this is a possible new series depending on what you guys think of it. And it's going to be late at night. So those, when you're working at night, maybe this will come across as a live stream and you can join in the fun. And you know, contact me, let me know if you would like to join me on one of these. If you work late nights too, we'll talk about you and your lab and how you got in the business and everything. Just do kind of an interview process that other people can talk about or can listen to while they're working late at night. And my collar's getting messed up. My wife, she hates this because it keeps messing up my collar. Anyway, hey, let's get started. I don't have anything else to do. Again, so this is probably going to be like a 30-minute thing. I'm monitoring the live stream. I'm going to get a preview going here. Maybe I can get a good half and half. Maybe not. That'll work. Alright. So this one, so I don't know about you, but I have a doctor that he is on time, on the money every week. He wants all of his retainers for the week on Monday. So that means, and I have to ship to him. So that means I got to do them all on Friday, and they can be a lot. So that means I'm prepping on Thursday and working late Thursday night so that my wife and I can finish them out on Friday so they can get shipped out so they can arrive on Monday. And then he starts the process again. He delivers them on Tuesday, the ones I deliver on Monday, but yet he's already taking braces off on Monday, and then he ships them out and I get them on Tuesday. And it's just a perpetual motion thing. He's one of my oldest clients. I love him. And you guys probably have them too. Clients that you've worked on years, and they just have a set schedule. They do the same retainers every single time. Nothing changes. It's great to have doctors like that. But so I'm going to be doing a bunch of these. I'll just explain them once. He mainly has a Holly with Adam's clasp on the upper, and he has this unique, I've done videos on this lower one, and it's going to have vertical cuts going through the acrylic here, but I don't do them in the wet acrylic. We just use a cutting board and make vertical cuts. But notice I've doubled up the wire right here so that it has a way of twisting. So it's actually a spring aligner, and he just puts them on all the cases, because if any teeth are going to shift, it's going to be the lower ones. So anyway, it's he does labial acrylic, and he does just, it looks like a regular retainer in here. I put kind of a mushroom spring here and a continuous rest bar, and then I lay that mushroom spring right on top of the rest bar. And if you see a little bit of, let me see if I can get close up here. You see a little bit of acrylic that's actually fix-it powder. And I think I need to do a video on fix-it powder coming up, because I love this stuff. And so that is actually acrylic holding these two wires together, because otherwise this is just floating in the acrylic. So, okay. Enough said. Let's get busy. Alright, like I said, let me pop out the chat here. Alright. So I usually start with the upper, and there's a real, usually I do the lower because I find the lower harder to sprinkle, but I'll start with the upper, and I do the upper because it cures faster, because I can sprinkle it faster and I can put it in the pressure pot. It'll cure by the time it takes me to sprinkle the lower that has labial acrylic, so that takes a little bit longer. What I was running into was, by the time, if I'd sprinkle this and put it in the pressure pot, I'll sprinkle this one so fast that this won't have a time to cure, because I do that little hybrid thing. Check my videos on pressure pot questions, where we use a little hybrid method where we set it on a cup for a steam curing until the acrylic gets hard, then we put it in the water and it does the final cure in the water. But we don't want to put it in the water when the models are dry. You don't want to submerge it because it will get messed up. Alright. I'm just checking everything. No, I said I was going to start with the upper. So here in Texas, so they're using Caribbean blue, which I have right here. So what I do is I put a little bit of acrylic down first, and then I get my little handy tweezers here, and I grab the name. And I dip it in my little acrylic dapping dish there, and I stick it in the acrylic. I like to do the tissue side, and that's just my signature, and it helps with opaques and stuff. I don't have to worry about it being too close to the surface of the retainer. Wow, I usually do this under the hood. I have a Great Lakes fume hood that I use. You don't realize how much acrylic that sucks out until you're not under the hood. There's one side. So I usually do these in two sides. Now I like to do the acrylic base first, just clear, just to make sure I get it under the wires. This also helps when you're doing opaque acrylic. That way you can actually see the wires when you're trimming the retainer, and you don't accidentally trim through a wire because you never saw it. Because if you're using like black or white or something very opaque, and you can't see your wires, you might have a tendency to trim through them when you're trimming the retainer. So like I said, this is probably only going to be about a 30-minute long, especially tonight. I don't know. Once I get some guests in here and we start discussing topics and stuff, and we get going as ortho techs, you know, we start chewing the fat, so to speak, as we say here in Texas. It's hard to get us to stop, but we have a good time. I think we'll have a good time. We all probably get a little silly working at night, drinking our coffee, trying to stay awake. This might be just the thing we all need, especially during the August months, because most of the time, and I know here in the States, August is the busiest time of the month for us ortho lab techs. Alright. Now, if you're sensitive to acrylic, make sure you wear gloves when you do this. The gloves annoy me, but I'm lucky that the acrylic is not, I'm not sensitive to it. I've seen some really nasty allergic reactions to this stuff, making your skin peel and stuff. So make sure, and there's a certain type of, I've got to transfer my tools over here. There's a certain type of gloves, like neoprene or something like that, that you need to wear, because I think the monomer will go through regular nitrile gloves. So make sure you research that. You can ask Priscilla at JVC, she knows. I believe it's neoprene. So I think this site will, maybe this series will help unite, bond us lab technicians together. Know that you're not alone, you're not the only one working. See, right now all my kids are asleep. Tucked away in their bed. My wife's asleep. And I'm here working. So I'm going to put this in the pressure pot. Right to the next one. So I'm going to use this tinted clear for the labial bow. My wire slipped on here. Let me get my torch here. See if I can make some last minute adjustments. I think it slipped on me. There we go. I think it I must have waxed it down and then it shifted on me. Yeah, it's a little low, but since it's got labial acrylic, I'm not too worried about it. Alright, so I'm going to start with the labial acrylic. I'm going to move this camera. It's probably a really bad angle the way it is right now. Bear with me. I just spilled some. I need to wear a black shirt more often. That looks good. Alright, labial acrylic. It's just a matter of stacking it. Make sure you get this first layer really liquid to get it underneath that wire. Like I said, I'm just using this tinted clear. I believe it's called 906 tinted clear from JVC. See, this is where we would have a lot of interviews going on with other ortho lab techs that are working the midnight oil. Burning the midnight oil, as they say. Which I'm calling this series Burning the Midnight Ortho. I couldn't help it. It's a great pun on words, pun something. I don't know. It's late. We all get silly when it's late like this. Those that are watching, let us know what time it is, where you're at, and what time it is right now. I'm curious to see who all is up at this time and watching. So again, I got to do the name, and I usually do it first thing so I don't forget. And again, I'm putting the clear acrylic under the wires. I'm going to grab the name real quick, and I have a little dapping dish here, and I'm going to dip it in there. and it's full of monomer, in case you were wondering. Alright, I'm going to do this off screen a little bit so you can't see the name very well. But the good thing is the name is mirrored. It's backwards, so that when you take it off the model, the retainer off the model, you can read the name from the tissue side. And I just include that for free on all my retainers, because here in Texas it's required by law to have let's see, it's required by law to have name insert in orthodontic appliances. Mainly it's the rule's mainly written for dentures, but it applies for orthodontic appliances too. Now you'll notice I got 2 bottles of clear monomer, just regular crystal clear that you would get, and then the monomer, the tinted monomer that it's super clear. That purple tint counteracts the yellowing that the acrylic naturally does. So if you need something super clear, get this tinted clear monomer, or I believe Zara Dental Lab, it's Z-A-R-A Dental Lab, has a, oh man, I forgot to put, I'm sitting here talking, I'm building it up, I forgot to put the color on there, so I'm going to scrape off a lot of this. What a waste. If I don't do that, if I tried to put the color on top, it would have not matched the other side. I got to talking too much about, do this area. Got to talking too much about the clear acrylic, and I started making the whole thing clear. But what I was saying before is, if you want to make your own tinted monomer so that your labial bows are super clear, and your clear appliances are super clear, Steve Zara has one on how to make your own. I believe he does. Steve, if you're listening, or you listen to this later, just type it in the comments below that what the term people need to search for your video. And if I get some time, I'll put a link in the description. There we go. Now, I tend to do these in 3. Do a little bit clear first, just so it matches the other 2 sides. I tend to do these in 3 sections, the lowers. A lot of it depends on the shape of the mouth. A lot of it depends how vertical the walls are, or how flat they are. Alright, so those are just joining us. This is just a test run of a new series I'm thinking of doing. It is called Burning the Midnight Ortho. A pun off we have in the States of burning the midnight oil, meaning staying up all night working. Which a lot of us ortho lab techs, well, dental lab techs in general do. But I feel like the ortho lab techs, because of the quick turnaround of the appliances that we make, because of the quick turnaround, we tend to work a few late nights. So I just got this X-Acto knife. I bought it from Steve Zara's online store, his Amazon store. It's like $7 for 70 blades and 2 handles. It's a crazy deal. I think it's in my Amazon store too. So I'll try to post that in the comments below later. This saves you a lot of time. It actually gives you a chance of taking this retainer off without it breaking the teeth off. Although when you get labial acrylic, chances are higher, you know, you're going to break teeth off, especially on these plaster models. So same thing here, just saving time, saving some trimming time by trimming the acrylic while it's still in a soft stage. Because once it cures, it's hard. Yep, I think it's already curing on me, so I'm going to get it in the pressure pot quick. Come on. There we go. So I've pulled up on this acrylic, and when you go to scrape this out, sometimes you pull the acrylic away from the model, so I'll put a little monomer on here. I'm going to take my finger and smooth it back, smoosh it back down. And it also helps smooth it out. You can really take out a lot of lumps doing it that way. Again, wear gloves if you're sensitive to this stuff. In the pressure pot it goes. On the last set, I'll grab the camera and so on the last set, I'll grab the camera and show you what I'm doing with the pressure pot. So I'm going to grab this next one. Let's see. Ooh, cranberry. So that last one was, what do you call this? Caribbean blue. That's my wife's favorite color. She does all the acrylic trimming. So let's see here. Looking for cranberry. There we go. I'm almost out. I think I ordered some more, but I can't find it. You know what? Maybe. Yeah, I think. This is cranberry. So this is cranberry. I'm going to skip this model because I got to find my refill and I can't find it. I don't want y'all to have to wait on me. I bought a refill and I've stored it somewhere. I'm going to put that one on the bottom. So I got 3 more cases here that I've bent. So there's standard pink and we got purple and turquoise. So let's do purple and turquoise. So, like I said below, and if you're wondering where I'm getting my names from, hopefully you can't read the names too well. Right here on this metal clip, we use a P-Touch labeler, and we printed out about 7-point font or whatever, and we cut it out and we stick it to this metal clip. You can kind of see it a little bit. I don't want to get too close because I want you to read the name, but that's where I stick it, and then I grab my tweezers and I just pull it off of there, stick it in the acrylic. So, that being said, this is purple on top, turquoise on the bottom. These are 2 popular. So you notice that last one, it was in an eyedropper. They're the more popular ones I put in these big needle tip ones. So the upper I'm going to do first, and it is purple. So let's do that. Alright, Monica Valenzuela. Hola, saludos. Oh, you're in Mexico. Excellent. So I think you're at the same time I am. You're burning the midnight ortho. Also, I think we're both in the same time zone. So it's almost 12:30 there. Alright, we're going to start with the clear again. And grab my name and dip it in my little dish here. I'm going to slide the name underneath the wires where it's pointing to the tissue side. I'm going to cover it with some more acrylic. If this is really an opaque color, which this kind of is, I'm going to put a little bit of clear right over the name and then do purple. So as more people start getting on board, like I said, this is just a test run. I'm seeing how many people are up watching, depending on time zones and who's working late and blah blah blah. I'd like to know if this would be an interesting new series. So put in the comments below, even if you watch this later the next day, you know, what time did this video post into your feed. So I think you can push the down arrow. It's right next to that thumbs up button. That thumbs up, that like. It's right underneath there's a little down arrow. You can look and you can see this was posted, whatever. Just post the time that it was posted so I know what time it is there. Oh, Brazil, someone's from Brazil. Awesome. I think you are in the same time zone as me too. So there's a lot of y'all working late tonight. And hello from Venezuela. Is Venezuela in the same time zone? I think so. I know I'm central, and I think y'all are central too. Venezuela, which coast are you on? I'm losing my geography lessons I learned in school. See, I wondered if I'd get a lot more international audience by doing this so late. I know Frank from France, he usually gets on here, but it is late for him probably, because he's usually 10 p.m. whenever I go on at noon here in the States. And so he's probably snoozing or just about to get up and get ready to go back to work. That's probably enough purple. There we go. And people ask what I'm doing with my fingers. I'm just kind of mashing it down, smoothing it out so there's no ripples or ruffles or any uncured acrylic. Because if you notice, if I put some acrylic down, like this, if I put my finger in it, it causes it to soak up faster. It is 1:26 a.m. in Venezuela. Wow! So you're more on the east side of South America. Alright, I keep thinking that's too thin. We'll find out. That's another reason I like to cut these while the acrylic's wet, is then you can look and see the thickness of it. Let's see if I can get in the middle of this camera. Right here. There's a middle. Cut this one. There we go. So I have this little hook thing that I like to scrape out. Do any of you guys that are watching have YouTube channels or Instagram accounts where you post your work? Let me know in the comments. Alright, so this is going in the pressure pot. Let me show you. Let me grab this camera here and show you what I'm doing. Alright. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. There's my pressure pot. A little dark over here, but hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Alright, so there's my cut method. So the first one is on the cup, is already in the water. And so the next goes into the water. And then this one that I just sprinkled goes on the cup. And you can see how many air bubbles are coming out of that. If that was still wet acrylic when I put it in the water, it would bubble right through the acrylic. And you get big bubbles. So I do the initial cure right here on the cup. And it's just an old coffee cup that I don't use anymore, just to keep it up out of the water. Alright. Time for the last one. This lower. Oops, I'm messing up my little live stream thingy here. Alright, let's see if I can zoom in on this. So, like I was saying before, I use this tinted clear for the labial bow, for the labial acrylic. I have a doctor that puts labial acrylic upper and lower. Does anybody else have that? Where they have to put labial acrylic upper and lower? I've been looking into doing this clear bow. And I don't know if anybody out there has any experience with clear bow. From what I've heard, it's really good. Really good. I think it's clearbow.com, so you could check that out. I'm thinking of maybe switching that doctor over to the clear bow. I think he'd like it because he likes labial acrylic because it surrounds the teeth. It's better retention. It adds a little bit more retention, and it just totally hugs the teeth. And I usually build this up. It depends on the temperature, how fast I'm working, because it will, I don't want to call it oxidize, but it'll as it cures, it starts forming bubbles while it's out of the pressure pot in the acrylic, little tiny bubbles. So if you get thousands of little tiny bubbles, that means it never got pressurized in the pressure pot. So if you see that, but oh, sorry, let me go back. That's why I was building that up a lot, because it'll do it from the outside in, and I can trim the outside labial bow off if it's got bubbles on it. I can when I thin it out, it'll trim off those bubbles. Put my name in there, and I dapped it onto the little acrylic dapping dish with a little bit of clear monomer in there. And this was turquoise lower. Something. My tips are clogged up. That's one thing will make your life a lot easier if you can keep your tips of your polymer and monomer bottles nice and clear and flowing. I'm going to switch polymer bottles, maybe that'll help. Always keep an extra one on hand. Sometimes the fumes, or if you get too close to the model, you know, while you're sprinkling, it may suck up some of the monomer, and then it'll clog up the tip of your thing. So these last two have been kind of difficult ones to sprinkle the lower. I'm going to have to do it in 3 phases just because they're so vertical, the walls are. If it was more dished, if they weren't as vertical, meaning straight up and down like this, they weren't so straight up and down and had undercuts, I could probably do it in 2 halves, but I'll just take my time, do 3. And in case you missed it before, I always put a little bit layer of clear so that I can actually see the wires when I'm trimming. Using this clear monomer color, don't have to worry about that too much. You see the wires through the clear monomer, but it's just a habit I do now. And plus, I really do it for the name on the other side, so I do it on this side just so that the colors match. get some back in that corner. Let me freeze that. This one's starting to see when it gets that shiny state on this side. This is actually good. If it was a little bit shinier, I'd worry about slumping. So it's not going to slump on me anymore. So now I need to watch this side. It'll start getting shiny on me if I've put too much monomer on it. Yep, that's starting to get shiny. I hope y'all can see that. See, now it's completely absorbed, so I'm going to throw some more polymer on there to freeze it, to keep it from slumping. And so the monomer will always soak up excess monomer will soak up excess powder. And so once you have polymer on there and it's not soaking it up anymore, you have the right ratio of underneath it of powder to monomer. Hope that makes sense. Alright, so I got a little divot there. Let's see if I can. So I'm just going to spray this down just to freeze it, let it soak up the excess monomer. And then I'm going to cut the labial acrylic and dip it my X-Acto knife in monomer. It'll help lubricate the cut a bit. I usually just go halfway of the canine or halfway of the loop. Yeah, you can tell when you're cutting this at the exact right moment. It just cuts so cleanly and peels off so cleanly. So if you cut it too soon, it's more like wet sand. I think something just died. Yeah, I think I had a camera die. That's what I get for this test run. I didn't charge everything properly. I got all wireless cameras, that's why batteries are dying. I actually had 3 cameras, and they died on me. I promise on the next ones I'll hopefully be more prepared. Brazil is 4 a.m. in Brazil. Casa de Papel. I'll have to Google translate that. Let's see. House. I think Brazil, y'all speak Portuguese. Oh, wait. Is that a TV show? See how silly we can get here? Yeah, Portuguese. Paper. Brazil, there. Paper House 4. Is Paper House is it a TV show? Man, it's almost time for the Olympics next year, 2020. Thinking of Brazil, I think it was in Rio last year, the Olympics. I kind of keep up with them a little bit because I used to run track and field in college, and but I can barely watch the races. That gets my heart jumping and bumping so much. All right. So I pulled it out with this, and so when I pulled it out, it lifted the acrylic. So now I'm going to go back. See, I'm running out of time. I'm already seeing some air bubbles here. So I'm just going to smooth it out. This is always optional, but if you do it right, you don't spend much time trimming. And so that's one thing I learned from another lab owner. Is he would sprinkle. He was really good at it. He would sprinkle almost exactly. And so then all he did was trimmed up the flash and shaped up the edges, and that was it. He had it down to a science. Oh, see. Oh, the camera's dead. I can't show you. Okay, that's it. I'm going to call it quits there. Thank you for watching. Thank you for participating. I actually got more. I think technicians are. I might have just lost my internet connection, so I'm going to keep talking. So it'd be nice to bring together multiple lab technicians. Bring together multiple lab technicians to know you're not alone. You're working late.